Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 6th day of December 2022. I hope you're safe and healthy today and that your week is going well. And I hope your family's also safe and healthy and that their week is going well. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders, trying every day to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep our streets, sidewalks, our houses, our parks, buildings clean. And those that make deliveries, food, water, things like mail for our delivery, or for our convenience, double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography, of prostitution and child prostitution. The victims of human trafficking and sex slavery, and double curses on the perpetrators, the perverts, and the profiteers who traffic in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children in the United States of America, mostly children living on the street literally. And there are millions around the world in similar or worse conditions, and blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a change that came, as I mentioned yesterday, in the Cavaliers game. And the two changes were pretty important changes for different reasons. First, Cam Reddish did not play. Now, if you guys recall in the summer, and I've been saying how Cam Reddish to me is the most talented, gifted basketball player on the Knicks roster. But prior to coming to the Knicks, he had a reputation as being injury prone. And in fact, when he came to the Knicks earlier this year, as part of last season, he hurt his shoulder. Of course, it was a hustle play, but he still hurt his shoulder, and it did not help his reputation. And so, if you recall, I said that as long as he is healthy, the cream rises to the top because of his talent. And with the foot issues that Quentin Grimes was having, the defensive issues that Fournier was having, that allowed Cam to get more minutes and eventually go into the starting lineup. But then he tweaked his groin. You see, he needs to stay healthy to keep the spot. Thibs and the coaching staff and the Knicks organization favors Grimes because they drafted him in the first round and they wanted him. There was some issue as to who wanted Cam Reddish, but they went and got him for Kevin Knox and gave him a first round pick. But some of you don't understand. You can't play both of them because some of the Knicks nation seems to think that they're going to somehow bench RJ Barrett. And I'm wondering what type of crack you on. They drafted RJ Barrett 3rd overall. They're not, and they just signed him to $120 million. He can play like crap. He's going to start. Period. So that spot is off the table. Okay? So that just really leaves one spot. And of course, you know Jalen Brunson's your starting point guard. So on the wing, that just leaves the 2 position. You cannot play both of them. So now Charles has to make a hard choice. And since Cam tweaked his groin, that made the choice easy. It was Grimes. And it doesn't matter that Grimes was hurt. He was favored. They won him. And for good reason. The Knicks are +5 with the starting lineup, including Grimes, since he's been inserted into the starting lineup. They're +5. Okay? So that just solidifies what they already wanted. Okay? And you're not hurting yourself with Quentin Grimes. So the whining, and this is the thing I see with fandom in general. People like to whine. I guess like children do. And I guess you do that because you can't do it as an adult in any other venue. So you can whine about sports. Okay. Whine in your beer or whatever. But that's just whining. He can't play. He's not going to be able to get a spot because you got Grimes there. And then you have Quickly. They're not benching Quickly. Okay. He's going to be playing. The Knicks are also, again, they're +5. No, they're more than that when Quickly on the floor. So they're going to keep doing that. They're not going to stop doing it. So unfortunately, Cam is stuck in a situation where somebody's going to get hurt. and that's the only way he's going to get starters minutes. And he's got to stay healthy and he's got to stay ready. Okay. I really want to keep him, because I would like, to me, the minutes for Cam as well as Obi Toppin, that problem gets solved when you trade Julius Randle. Because you start Obi Toppin, there's his minutes, and now Cam comes in backup 2, backup 3, and backup 4, and he gets minutes. And if anybody gets hurt, he's in the starting lineup. I like that. Okay. At this point, because of Cam's injury history, the Knicks have a bit of an advantage on him in the free agent market. Whereas if he's playing at a high level and playing starters minutes, I feel like he would produce to the point where he'd be getting 18 to 22 points a game. And he'd be getting in that $80 to $100 million range like RJ. But he's not. And he hasn't. So now he's kind of at the mercy of the league. He doesn't have much leverage. So what he's got to do right now is just stay ready, period. Just stay ready for his opportunity to play. Okay. Thibs is going with a 9-man rotation, as he should, and you cannot play everybody. So Cam's going to sit. Some of y'all just need to get over that. I like Cam, but that is what it is. He had to wait people got to wait their turn. And again, he got hurt and let Grimes get in there. And now Grimes is playing defense at a high level. And you can see, eventually that jump shot's going to come. He's just too good. So is what it is. So for now, Cam's is out. And you got to wait for somebody to get hurt, which is possible. Long season, so he could be called on again. He just got to stay ready and he can't get hurt again. Okay. That's his issue right now. The second big move was benching Derrick Rose. And they asked Thibodeau about both of these things. And since we just talked about Cam, he said he's going with a 9-man rotation. And de facto Cam is out. As I just told you, he can't play everybody. And then he mentioned, when they mentioned Rose, he said, well, it's a back-to-back. And he said, we're going to see how it shakes out. Now, if you've listened to Thibs, even just during his 2+ years as the Knicks coach, he's basically telling you, Deuce is going to play. And Deuce needs to play. Now, talk about somebody that waits their turn. You have never heard Deuce complain about playing time? He's always supportive of the team. He goes down to the G League and kills it when he has to go down there. Comes back and sits on the bench and just waited his turn. And the Knicks are +6 this year with Deuce on the floor in 82 minutes. Last year they were +15 when he's on the floor with 372 minutes. And so I feel like, they're going to get better with him on the floor. Now we played the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now everybody not everybody, just the haters want to focus the fact that Jared Allen wasn't there. You come up to the NBA, you got to play the game. Who's there don't matter. Who's there to play is what matters. So Jared Allen wasn't there. I like my chance with Mitch Robb anyway, but I don't care about no Jared Allen. They lost. And they got Donovan Mitchell and they got Darius Garland. 2 all-star backcourt dudes. And it wasn't because of Jared Allen they got locked up. Because they did get locked up. No, they got locked up because it was Quentin Grimes. And unfortunately for them, Thibs decided to pull the Deuce card. When he pulled the Deuce card on you, the Deuce of Spades, you done. And that's what he did. And so he had Deuce out there on them for 16 minutes. And then he had, I think, Quentin Grimes played like 30 minutes, 34 minutes. That's what caused them to lose the game. It wasn't the absence of Jared Allen. It was they got locked the heck up. That's what happened. Okay? So I think they're going to continue to do that. I'm looking at stats on basketballreference.com. But Thibodeau looks at advanced stats continually. And if people listen instead of tripping, then he's always quoting them. So he watches the stats and he knows what happens when those two cats are on the floor together. And if you remember back in training camp, Thibodeau, they asked, during the various interviews, the various press conferences that Thibs gave during the training camp, one of them they asked him about the defense, and among other things he mentioned. Of course, I would catch this because I'm Deuce High. He said, "I'd like to see Deuce McBride and Quentin Grimes play some time in the backcourt together." Okay, and I feel like now's that time because, as you saw, Randall, there was some play that was going around on Twitter that was blaming RJ, which told me that people don't know how to watch basketball. RJ was guarding a wing, and Randall was guarding a four. Randall went into the lane and left RJ with two guys. The guy that was Randall's got the basketball at the corner three, and RJ ran from his man to try to cover that guy, and of course the guy splashed the three. And so people say, RJ, these guys don't play defense. You don't watch basketball enough, or you don't know what you're watching. It's Randall that's leaving his man or doubling a guy that doesn't need to be doubled or not caring at all. That's the problem. And then you got Jalen Brunson, who's just trying hard, but he's just not that guy as far as defender. And so you're going to have those issues. But when you add a Quentin Grimes into that lineup, just like with Cam, but now you got Quentin Grimes there next to Brunson, and Brunson does hustle. So you're going to solidify that. And then you got, RJ and Mitch Rob. Now, with Randall, we can't do nothing about it until they trade him or unless they trade him. But when you bring in Deuce behind those guys, you got something. Now you got some defense going on. Okay. And Obi plays good defense as well. You got Obi, you got Deuce. And of course, Hartenstein's a little weaker on defense. I'd like to see more Jericho Sims, but it is what it is. For now, it's Hartenstein. I do believe if Sims stays pretty healthy, he hasn't been hurt too much at all. So he's going to get his chance. And when he does, I'm pretty sure if he gets a chance, if Hartenstein tweaks his ankle and you see Sims in there and they go on a winning streak, you're going to see Sims stay there. Okay. But that's got to come when it comes. Okay. Long season, everybody's going to get a chance to play. But overall, I think the Deuce, Quentin Grimes, the Deuce combination with Quentin Grimes is going to continue. You're going to see that more. Now they're getting ready to play Atlanta. And that was one of those ugly losses, that the Knicks suffered this year playing Atlanta. I think it was one of those games the Knicks were up. And then, of course, Atlanta came back at the Garden and ended up beating the Knicks. That was November 2nd. So I think you're going to see more of Deuce McBride on defense right now. Now, some people have been making comments that, well, I wish he would get a shot. Again, that just shows you really don't know Deuce. You haven't been watching him. You don't know anything about him. He can shoot the basketball. The reason he's not shooting well right now on the Knicks is because he's getting spot minutes. Some players can come off the bench in spot minutes and score. That's why you use those guys as 6 men. But that's why you do that, because not everybody can. Deuce needs the time. He needs to get sweaty. He needs to be out there. That's why when you see him in the G League toward the middle of the end of the game, he takes over. He needs to get in a rhythm, just like Obi. He needs to get in the rhythm, and he needs consistent minutes. He could shoot the rock. He could shoot it at West Virginia. He could shoot it in the G League, and he can shoot it in the NBA. He just needs consistent minutes, and he needs to not be looking over his shoulder. Now, looking over the shoulder part, I think is done. He's not worried about that right now. But he needs consistent minutes, and I believe that's what's coming. If we can get him to continue to get 16 to 20 minutes a game, and he knows he's going to get that, he's pretty tough. He's tough like Brunson. He's not going to just be getting tweak injuries and come out like that. He's tough like Brunson is, Deuce McBride. And so you get him those 16, 20 minutes, and you let him get him every game. Eventually, you're going to see him. You're going to see that jumper start falling heavy, and he's going to put up numbers like he did in the G League. And I'm not worried about that. So longer term, looking more longer than cursory, I feel like Deuce should be that guy that continues to get the minutes. Now, also been hearing stuff about people writing about the Knicks being in purgatory because they're in the middle of the pack and whatever, which is, again, short-sighted and stupid. Why do I say that? Why do I say it's short-sighted and stupid? If you start at the bottom, okay, and you're going to the top, on your way to the top, don't you stop in the middle? Does that make sense? So if you're at the bottom, the Knicks won 21, 29 games, something like that before Thibs came, and you're building up on your way to the top, don't you have to go through the middle? So why is everybody surprised that the Knicks are in the middle of the pack now? And I don't understand why people keep treating the Knicks. They crap on them on one side, but then they treat them like they should be a top 4 contender and they're disappointing you. You can't have it both ways. They're rebuilding. This is year 3. They've played 24 games in year 3. They got 2 full seasons before that. Okay? And they got 24 games in year 3. They're not at the top. Shouldn't be at the top right now. They're not expected to be. So in the middle of the pack is a good spot for them right now, on their way to the top. But they have to develop. We talked about a 5-year plan on Sunday. Okay? And yes, you got to have a 5-year plan. This is year 2 and 24 games. And then there's those whiny so-called fans that want to say, I've been waiting a long time. Well, that's your business. That's what happens when you fire coaches, coaching staffs, and start over with management teams. You're starting over. Everything starts over. That's why I say, let's just keep Leon and his crew and Thibs and his crew for the whole 5-year contract. And let's see what they do, because we haven't done that. I don't even know when's the last time the Knicks had a coach that played through his contract. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know really. It's been a long time. That's an issue in New York. You gotta let somebody play through their contract once you pick them. It can't be, we're gonna fire you in 2 years or 3 years. You're rebuilding. So you gotta go through the middle to get through the top. It's part of the path. Nobody goes straight from the bottom to the top. They can do that in football sometimes and in baseball sometimes, but not in NBA. You got to build up the way they set it up. You got to build through the draft. You got to build through development. That's how it works in the NBA. Okay. So now the Knicks are going toward the middle. That's where they should be. Okay. If we could get into the top 8 in the playoffs, that's a tremendous thing. And I think they will. I'm still thinking 45 wins. See, people change after every win or loss. After a win, all of a sudden they're world beaters. After a loss, they're the worst team in the world. I guess that's just New York. But overall, I haven't changed my view of 45 wins. And I haven't changed the opinion that they're going to get better as the season goes on. The tweaks that we saw this weekend are an example of that. So now you're getting more Deuce McBride. You're getting more Quentin Grimes. That's the tweaks that they made. And so, they're going to continue to get better as that time goes on. Now, like I said, if they start contending, because you're going to see the Knicks go on a winning streak, then you'll see them go on more losing streaks. But once they go on a winning streak, if they have a couple winning streaks and you start to see them in playoff contention, then Julius Randle's probably going to stay a New York Knick. I mean, I would be surprised. I would pull the trigger on a trade right there and get him at his highest value, but I don't know if management will do that. They might want to keep it going, with what they have if they're playing at that level. If they're really playing badly, if they're below 500, and you're getting to the All-Star break, they're going to trade him. They're going to trade him, Evan Fournier, and Derrick Rose. They're all going to go. Okay. And you're going to be a commitment. You're going to see a commitment to the players they drafted and players they traded for. That's when Cam's minutes would open up if he's, decided he still wanted to be in the Knicks. So that would solve a lot of problems, trading those 3 guys. But up until that time, right now, I think it's appropriate that DRose is out of the rotation. I think it's appropriate that Deuce McBride is in the rotation. And although I would love to see Cam play more minutes, I understand, why you can't do it, because you got Grimes that you want out there, and then you have Deuce, but you have IQ that you want to take as much advantage of as you can, because IQ is also a tremendous basketball player. See? So, and they're +6 or something like that with him on the floor. So you want to keep that going. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. I think it's going to be Deucetime now. I think we're going to see more of Tom drawing that Deuce card. And I think that's going to be a really good thing for the Knicks. I think as long as Quentin Grimes stays healthy, as I said about Cam, if Quentin stays healthy, then they're going to get better. That starting unit is going to get better, and you're going to see them win more basketball games. A nice test of that is this Wednesday against Atlanta, because if they can come and beat Atlanta this time and show improvement in terms of the defense, like they showed against Cleveland, then I'm pretty confident we're going to see some improvement going forward overall for the Knicks, and you won't have to worry about them disappointing you. But I don't expect them to be top 3 in the East, top 4 in the East this year. I don't expect that. And so you gotta, if you're looking at it like you're expecting that, yeah, you're gonna be disappointed, because it's like the Lakers, right? Everybody expects the Lakers to be, in championship contention every year, but so they're disappointed. People expect Chicago to be better. They're 9-14. People are disappointed because they spent a lot of money on DeMar DeRozan. They draft capital and money on Vucevic. Plus they pay $80 million to Lonzo Ball. And if they're 9-14, that's a disappointment. Okay. But the Knicks are not in that situation right now. We're better than that. And I think we're going to get better as the time goes on. So I'm looking forward to seeing this game Wednesday, because I want to see if Thibs does what I think he's going to do, which is keep Deuce McBride in the rotation and play the 9-man and hopefully get Deuce that consistent. If I see it Wednesday, if he does it again Wednesday, then it's permanent. If you see him play Deuce McBride again 16 minutes Wednesday night, it's going to be Deucetime all the time now. Okay, you're going to see that all the time. Right. And Deuce and Jericho and Svi went to the G League last night. After they played Sunday, they went to the G League last night. And so I think that's just the Knicks keeping Deuce sharp, keeping, especially Sims and Deuce, keeping them sharp, because they're expecting to have to call on them soon, especially Deuce now. So, like I said, it's a sign to me. I just put it that way. It's a sign. If you see Wednesday night Deuce come off that bench first, you're going to see that going forward unless Deuce gets hurt. So, anyway, that's a wrap for today. We'll talk before the game. Please enjoy your Tuesday. Be safe out there. Shalom.